the Agile Brand.
What if you could have ransomware-proof data storage solutions? If you've ever been in the unfortunate situation to need it, you know exactly how important this can be. And if you haven't, well, consider yourself very fortunate. Welcome to One Amazing Thing About Object First. I'm your host, Greg Kihlström, and I'd like to welcome Anthony Cusimano, Chief Evangelist and Director of Technical Marketing at Object First. And he's going to be sharing one amazing thing about Object First's Ootbi with us today. Anthony, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Greg. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, looking forward to this. So before we dive in and take a look, why don't we get started with you giving a little background on yourself and your role at Object First?
Sure thing. So I've been with the company almost 2.5 years now, which is pretty wild. I'm a US employee number 4.
Nice.
Never worked at a startup before, but it's been a blast, I got to say, so far. So I've got to do everything from, selling our product to our first customer to coming up with our marketing strategy and messaging, and also knowing everything about our cool little product called Ootbi. So wear a lot of hats, but I have a lot of fun doing it.
Nice, nice. So yeah, so to dive in here with Ootbi, what is valuable about this feature of the product? Why and who's the target for it? Tell us a little bit about it before we take a look.
Absolutely. So I think the first thing we got to get out in the air when it comes to Ootbi is the name itself, right? Because it's not a household name yet.
Right.
Ootbi stands for out of the box immutability. And that's not just a fun thing to say. It's actually true, and I'll show you in the demo. But our whole reason to be was to create, like you said in the intro, a ransomware-proof object storage target for backup data. And in this case, specifically Veeam backup data. And when you turn on Ootbi and you configure it, you have immutable backup storage out of the box. No security expertise required. You don't need to know anything about S3 or object or security of any kind. We default everything to just be as secure as humanly possible and to just work.
Nice, nice, awesome. Well, yeah, let's dive in. Let's take a look.
Let's do it. All right. So when you rack and stack Ootbi inside your lab, you go through a quick little 15-minute configuration in our textual user interface. And once you've gone through that process, you land on our dashboard. And we've been using this dashboard for a while, so this isn't exactly what you'd see on first setup, but it would actually say, hey, you need to go create an S3 key. And some people know about object storage, they know about S3 keys, some don't. And we don't have any preconceived notions about what they do or don't know, but all they need to do is come click create key, and we will generate a new S3 key for them. And that is essentially the username and password they'll use when plugging the storage into their data protection vendor. But the feature I really wanted to show off today is our immutability. Because like I said, the product's called Ootbi, out of the box immutability. The second thing we prompt you to do is to come into our S3 bucket screen here and click create a bucket. And you can type in a name, you can call it whatever you want. And as long as you follow our little set of instructions here, you'll notice enable versioning is checked by default. Versioning is what allows us to use the object lock. You could turn it off if you want to do test dev, but we always recommend if you're writing backup data to it, you leave it checked, you click create, and that's it. That's actually the entire configuration process of our product. And that's the entire user setup wizard when we first started. A lot of folks often say it just works or it's super simple and it's easy, but the reason I wanted to join this company was when I heard about the product and I saw the product. It's like literally 4 clicks to get this thing set up and plugged into Veeam, and it just works. And one of the things we did to make it so simple is actually a little bit of security through obscurity, right? Like we optimize everything, we secure everything, we lock the user out from kind of toggling on the bells, whistles, and switches that come with most storage products. And by locking them out of doing that, we give them one path to go through, and it doesn't ever fail on them. They get that immutable storage, and they never have to worry about paying a ransom again, so long as their backup data lands on an Ootbi target. But that's the one thing I wanted to show when it comes to our product, and it's super quick and easy to do.
Yeah, that's super simple and easy. That's great. And so for those out there, I mean, again, as I said, if you've been through that process, God forbid, it's a pretty painful process. So, what's I guess given the setup is so straightforward, like what's the next step, after somebody does this, like what would they do next?
Right. So if you're familiar with Veeam, it's pretty simple. It's a backup and replication data protection vendor. They've been doing this for 15 years. So all of our customers are Veeam customers because we only work with the Veeam data protection platform. They would come and configure basically a storage repository within Veeam, and every Veeam admin knows how to do this. It's part of their badge of honor to using the product. They'd hook us in by literally just copy pasting their little dashboard IP here and that S3 key they create earlier. Click next a couple of times. They'll set how long they want to keep their data immutable for. And that's important, right? Because you don't want to make it immutable forever. Otherwise, you'll fill up the box and you'll never be able to delete anything. You'll just have to buy more Ootbis. And as much as we'd like the thought of that, that's not really great for customers. So you set a retention period, 7 to 30 days, and then you start writing your backups here. And we just keep that backup data immutable. And the great thing is because we're a separate product from Veeam, because we have, outside of being founded by the same two founders who created Veeam, no direct integration beyond working with them. If Veeam is compromised in any way, you don't have the compromised us because, again, we don't give any access to anything privileged. There's no factory reset or root privilege or OS privilege they can go into and delete the data. So it's truly immutable, even to us, the vendors, when we configure this.
Yeah. And so one last question, just for anybody listening out there that's like, what exactly does he mean by immutable? So could you just give the
Yeah.
101 on this, just for reference?
Absolutely. It's a great question. And I think even people who know what immutability means often just hear it and treat it as a checkbox. So
Yeah.
immutability, it essentially means that it cannot be changed. But the thing you have to look out for, especially when looking at storage and immutable storage, is it often comes in two flavors. There's immutability that is based in compliance mode and immutability based in governance mode. And vendors like Amazon S3, they give you the choice of which one you'd like to enable. Governance being one that has a governor or an admin that can basically come in and say, "Hey, we're gonna clear this thing out." It's immutable to everyone except the governor, basically. And compliance mode is exactly that. If we have to do legal compliance and keep that data around for 7+ years, that's what it means with immutability with compliance. Ootbi is based on compliance mode immutability. So there is no individual or person that can alter the data, period. Doesn't matter how master hacker you are, you could get access to everything and the data cannot change. The only thing Ootbi isn't proof for is hammer proof. Obviously, that's why we recommend, 3-2-1 and put your data in the cloud, put it off site as well, because
Yeah.
insider threats still happen, right? People still come at boxes with magnets and hammers and they can destroy the physical thing, but that's just about the only thing we caution our customers on because it's truly immutable in compliance mode.
Yeah, that's great. And thanks for that. Well, Anthony, thanks so much for joining today. One last thing before we go, for those that like what they see here, sounds good. What's the next step that they should take?
Yeah, absolutely. So you've seen the brief demo. And one thing I can say is while we make it really easy, there's a lot of details and information about, the Ootbi configuration with Veeam and how we do everything that I also think a lot of people would like to know about. So reach out to us for a demo. You can go to our website, objectfirst.com, and we have dozens of trained SEs that are super great at talking about in the weeds details that, nerds love to get into when it comes to Ootbi. And we're happy to answer all of your questions there. So that would be the path or that's not a path of resistance. That's the path of forward operations I'd go down.
Great. Well, again, I'd like to thank Anthony Cusimano, Chief Evangelist and Director of Technical Marketing at Object First, for joining the show. You can learn more about Anthony and Object First by following the links in the show notes.